Welcome to the real Monster D. That would be me. I thought I would continue to review the various kaiju and mecha-based animated series that haunt Netflix. And continue today with Pacific Rim the Black. Yes. This series was released just a little earlier this year and had some pretty positive reviews, and I'm here to bring yet another positive, happy review about this series. This, of course, is an animated series that follows up the two live-action films, 2013's Pacific Rim and its sequel, Pacific Rim Uprising. However, this one follows two main protagonists, brother and sister, Taylor and Haley. They are later followed by a sort of anti-hero character and mentor, Iria. I mean, May. She is unfortunately employed by the dastardly Desert Marauder leader known as Kurt Russell. I mean, Shane. He sends her and many of his other minions out to go and attempt to collect kaiju eggs in exchange for fuel. But that is when May and a number of other soldiers run into our protagonists, and they come together in this sort of uneasy, uncomfortable alliance. Pacific Rim the Black was run by the likes of Craig Kyle and Greg Johnson. This pair has a great legacy behind them, having written and produced some of the greatest of the Marvel animated films, including Doctor Strange, Ultimate Avengers, Hulk Versus, and they even helped put together the animated series Wolverine and the X-Men. So they know all about building characters, helping them grow and develop. The animation here is helmed by Polygon Animation, and you may well be familiar with their type of style, having already worked on the Godzilla anime trilogy. So they do that sort of cel-shaded CG thing, which can often be clunky, but here I think it actually works better, especially when it comes to the kaiju and to the Jaegers. They really capture their heft and their weight and their just maddening size. It is wonderful. And they restrain themselves, going back to the rules created by the first Pacific Rim, and they really give these creatures a sense of weight by slowing down their movements, not always going for all these speedy, fast, frenzied moves. So it really helps to really bring these creatures to gigantic, gargantuan life. I appreciate the world building that is done in this series. I mean, the entire thing takes place essentially in the Australian deserts, which is a small location when stacked to the globe, but it helps to increase the size of the overall Pacific Rim world. It lets you know that while events were going on in those films, other things were going on elsewhere in the world too. So I do appreciate that. I like how they deepen the lore by introducing such things as the character known as Boy, who has a strange connection to animals and to kaiju themselves, sort of drawing out some lore, letting you know that perhaps kaiju, or at least some kaiju, are a bit more than the mindless giant slaves of the otherworldly aliens. And there may even be more of a connection than we thought between kaiju and Jaegers. This series is funny in that it brings the entire thing sort of full circle, considering that the original intent for Pacific Rim was to be this gigantic homage to kaiju and mecha films, as well as classic mecha anime, and now Pacific Rim the Black has become itself a modern take on the classic mecha anime. So, yes. And I also appreciate that while this is an animated series, in some ways, it is actually more mature than its live action counterparts. It shaves off some of the trademark humor and almost slapstick comedy that occasionally would happen in those movies. Uh, Although there is some comedy here, some humor, mostly in the form of witty lines spit out by Loa, the Jaeger training AI. But generally, this series keeps a much more serious, more grounded kind of a tone. And I like that. It helps, in a way, elevate it up to the levels of its live action brethren and sort of leveling everything out. Nice and smooth. So, if you're looking for a nice modern take on the classic mecha anime of yore, look no further than Pacific Rim the Black. Looking for a monstrous keepsake for your loved one? How about a monster on demand? I turn your loved ones, pets, even yourself into highly detailed, personalized monster images. Order yours today at therealmonsterd.com. While I have been attempting to compile a list of the top robot-inspired heavy metal songs, I thought I could use a little inspiration for myself. And what better inspiration than the Transformers the Movie motion picture soundtrack from 1986. Oh, if you need a pick-me-up while you are cleaning the monster lair, having a sweat-induced workout, going through some nostalgic things, if you're feeling down and out, look no further, for you've got the touch against these instruments of destruction. Despite the death of Optimus Prime, if you dare, then nothing's going to stand in our way tonight, especially with the Transformers news behind us. We can escape to feed the hunger as the Autobot Decepticon battle rages on, which will of course wind up making us all scared to be stupid. So, if you need your robot fix, if you want to transform into an energy machine, look no further than the Transformers original motion picture soundtrack. Are you in the mood for a monster? 5-minute monsters have returned! Enjoy a 30-minute experience in your own home, where I draw all the monsters I can muster. I am going to pull the monster right out of your very own mind. I will do so by using my magic monster maker. Order your experience at therealmonsterd.com. Welcome to the drawing challenge. I thought we would get a little mechanical this time around, and I would attempt to draw in 5 minutes or less a mecha monster. Yes. So let us not delay in getting robotic. Here is my time-telling device, and let us get mecha. So if we're going to do that, that means we're going to have to do some very straighter than normal lines. This is going to have to be a mechanized monster, but what will it ultimately be? It's going to have a big maw, some big teeth, but they're going to have to be sort of mechanized teeth. Alright, so let me fill that in there. All right. So when you think of mecha, what comes to your mind? Who are the great mechas out there in the world? My mind immediately, of course, goes to Mecha Godzilla, followed pretty quickly by the likes of Jet Jaguar and Mechanicon, those sorts of characters, even Mecha King Ghidorah. But a lot of you, especially if you are anime fans, may think of something like Gundam, Evangelion, what was that? Macross? That was one of them, right? And so many others. And of course, the sort of crossover in animation would be Transformers. So mecha have been around for a very long time in one form or another. You know, in live action as well as animated, as well as, of course, in uh, sort of book, illustrated book form. All right. So where are we going with this creature? So I'm going to give it a nice squared off kind of eye. So this creature is actually starting to look like sort of a underdeveloped Mechagodzilla. Actually, I think I know exactly where to go with this. It has come to my mind. I know what to do. I'm going to do a mechanized serpent. How about that? Mechanized robotic monster serpent. And that is not the title, but if you want it to be, it can be. Mechanized robotic mecha serpent. All right, so there we go. Of course, if it's going to be mecha, gotta add some silver. Silver linings there. There we go. Silver that on in. Silver that on in. We're not going to make it straight silver. We're going to add some color. Make it stand out a little bit more than that. But that helps to solidify its metallic status. And then we'll switch over for these sort of middle parts. These connectors. Almost think of something like fiber optics or something like that. Little wires that just barely protrude to let you know that there is more going on underneath here than just boxes of metal. There we go. I have a hard time separating a lot of mecha from kaiju. I still think of Mecha Godzilla as a sort of kaiju, even though he is a mecha. He's kind of a split of both. So there we go. Then let me add some light up eyes. Light up. There we go. And then maybe a light up internal mouth. Who knows what sort of laser focused weaponry this creature could spew out from inside of its mechanical bowels. There we go. Uh-oh. All right. And that called it. So, what do you think? Is that mecha enough for you? Have you ever seen a mechanized serpent before? What would you call it? How about Steel Stricter? Or how about Iron King Snake? How about you come up with an appropriate name for this mechanized serpent down below? Well, I hope you have enjoyed this drawing as well as the episode entire. If you have, please won't you claw that like button and toll that bell so you can be ready, willing, and salivating for the very next episode of The Real Monster D. Stay monstrous! Ah!